Croissant Pope to the Retro and Remasters PSN sale. This sale ends on the 2nd of June, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up is the Art of Fighting Anthology. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £2.39, which is awesome. Included in this anthology is the first 3 fighting games, so that's a pretty good deal for 3 games. These games are classic arcade fighters, with a plot following the Sakazaki family as they fight corrupt police, and it also features an alternate bonus soundtrack. And on a side note, there's loads of these games on sale right now, so if you don't want this anthology, or you're looking for a specific one, take a look around because there's quite a few of them. Up next is the pinnacle of a series, Assassin's Creed The Ezio Collection. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £11.99, which is amazing for 3 AAA games, as this collection includes the single-player campaigns with all of the DLC and short films from Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood and Revelations, with enhanced graphics. So you're getting the complete Ezio trilogy, and it's an amazing trilogy to play. If you like Assassin's Creed, these are hands down the best Assassin's Creed games ever made. In these games, you play as Ezio, the most iconic assassin of the franchise, following his journey through Italy, Rome and Constantinople, as he follows in the footsteps of his assassin mentor Altair. I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed games, including this trilogy, and I can't recommend these highly enough. If you've always wanted to play an Assassin's Creed game, this is the best place to start. If you're a fan of the series and you never played these, do yourself a favour and pick this up now. They're amazing, and you won't regret it, I promise. Baja Edge of Control HD is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on at least an 85% discount for the price of £3.74, or if you've got PS Plus, £2.49, which is really dirt cheap. This is a racing game, and this edition is remastered in 4K with hill climb, endurance rally and circuit track events with more than 1,000 miles of tough terrain, 100 tracks, over 160 vehicles, and 200 authentic parts to repair your vehicles with. So this may not be one of the most well-known racing games, but hey, you're getting a lot of content for your money and it's at a dirt cheap price. So if you like the sound of a cheap little racing game, take a look at this. Next we have a cult classic, Bayonetta. It was released in 2020, so it's only a year old, although it's a re-release of an older game really, and it's on a 60% discount for the price of £7.99, which isn't bad, considering it's a new release. This is a third-person action game, following the tantalizing Umbra witch risen from the depths after half a millennium of slumber. Thrust immediately into battle and missing her memories, she must vanquish her enemies to piece together the truth of her past. This is a cult classic and it's a bit of a legendary game for the action. You get to shoot and cut your way through a load of levels with a huge combo system, big bosses, and just crazy over-the-top action. You'll get the idea if you see a trailer, but in general, it's a great action game, and if you like any of what I've talked about, then you just might want to consider it. Up next, we have Deadlight Director's Cut. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and is on a 75% discount for the low price of £3.24. This is a 2D survival adventure game, and this edition includes improved gameplay, controls, and 2 new game modes. This is set in a zombie apocalypse where you play as Randall Wayne, a father searching through a destroyed Seattle for his long-lost family. You must fight, sneak, and utilize your environment and limited resources in order to succeed, and maybe even find your family. This game had great reviews, and it seems pretty decent, and at this price, you're not investing a lot of money. So if you're looking for a cool little indie game, you might want to think about this one. We have a franchise reboot next, DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. It was released in 2015, so it's 6 years old, and is on a 75% discount for the price of £8.74. Which isn't bad. This is a third-person action game, and this edition has full HD 60 frames per second graphics, and includes all the past DLC content. In this reboot of the legendary series, you get to play as both Dante and Virgil, as they traverse the demonic world of Limbo, chaining together stylish combos with up to 8 unique weapons. The original franchise was a huge deal, and you can still pick them up in bundles every now and again. But this reboot got good reviews at the time, and people really liked it. It's decent, and if you'd play the originals, or you like this sort of game, it might just be worth your time. Hard Reset Redo is our next game. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and is on an 85% discount for the crazy price of £2.84, which is really decent. This edition includes remastered visuals and additional content. In this FPS, you live in the final human city and get drawn into a conflict between two of mankind's greatest enemies, featuring old school over-the-top destruction, loads of enemies, and weapon variety with a challenging campaign. If you like old school shooters, with less story and more cool action and fun, then you'll love this game. But if you're looking for something more modern where there's a lot of story, then you might just want to look at something else. Make your choice. We have a puzzle game next, Lumines Remastered. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, although it's a much older game originally released for the PlayStation Portable, so keep that in mind. But this edition is remastered, and it comes with 4K graphics and new game modes. In this music-based puzzle game that changes the difficulty based on the tempo of the music, you get given less time to place blocks the higher the music tempo, and it features over 40 tracks, local multiplayer, and online leaderboards. So if you're into music rhythm games and puzzle games, this is really unique and you'll probably love it. But if you're not into music-based games, then maybe you want to pick a different puzzle game instead. Mighty No. 9 is our next game. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and is on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.39. This is an action platformer where you play as Beck, the ninth in a line of powerful robots. When a mysterious virus infects the other 8, it's up to you to fight your way through 12 challenging stages to stop them and steal their abilities for yourself. So yeah, it's a Mega Man ripoff, and if you're familiar with the history of the game, it was originally created as a spiritual successor to Mega Man, although it got a lot of bad press when it came out because people didn't think it could stand up to the old games. But hey, that doesn't mean it's a bad game, just not as good as people expected, and maybe it should never have been compared to Mega Man in the first place, and then at least it would have had a chance. In any case, this features 2-player online co-op, boss rush mode, mini-missions, challenges, and an online race mode, so you get a lot of different modes as well, which is great value. So if you're a fan of old school platformers, probably not Mega Man, then you might enjoy this. Check it out. An old school series next, Oddworld New and Tasty Complete Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, but it's a remaster of a PS1 game, so keep that in mind. It's on a 75% discount for the price of £4.24, which is pretty decent. This edition includes the Alphascape expansion, alternate costumes, and a PS4 theme, so you do get a bit of extra value for your money with this edition. This game is a puzzle platformer, and a complete remake of the legendary PlayStation 1 game Abe's Odyssey, where you must escape with your people to gain your freedom. The sequel to this game, which is also a remake of the second PS1 game, was just given away for free on PS Plus. So if you've claimed that for PS5 and you want to play the first one, this is your chance to pick it up cheap. That way you can play the whole story. Back in the 90s, these games were really popular, and they were popular for a reason. They were really good puzzle platformers, and they still live up to it today. And considering they're remade, you get the best of both worlds, the experience of the original games, but with modern graphics and controls. So if any of that sounds great to you, then take a look at it. It's a pretty decent game. Next we have Ratchet Clank. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 50% discount for the price of £7.99, which is really good for a PlayStation Hits game. This game is an action platformer, and it's a reboot of the original Legendary series, starring Ratchet the Lombax and Clank the Robot as they team up to save the galaxy while utilising awesomely unique and fun weapons. If you missed this for free on the PlayStation Play at Home initiative, you might want to pick this up before the PS5 sequel releases, especially if you're looking to get that, because it'll give you a bit more of a background and more of an idea of what's going on in the game series. I've played a lot of the Ratchet & Clank games, and I always enjoy them. They're never boring, they're always fun. They're a gold standard for platformers, they really are. They're basically the nearest thing PlayStation has to Super Mario games. So if you're as excited about that as you should be, then you should definitely pick one of these up, especially if you've never played them before. You'll thank me after. More remasters next. Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition. It was released in 2018, so 3 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £4.99, which is pretty good. This is a third-person open-world action game that features fully reworked and improved graphics, and you get to play as a member of the Red Faction movement, fighting to liberate Mars from the oppressive Earth Defense Force. It features a true physics-based demolition system, allowing you to destroy anything with a variety of weapons and vehicles. I played the original first-person shooters in this series back in the day, and I absolutely loved them. They were some of the best first-person shooters on PlayStation 2. They're amazing. And I played a little bit of this one as well, and even though I didn't like it as much as the originals, I gotta be fair, it's a really fun game, especially if you like running around and blowing stuff up. If you're the sort of guy that spends a lot of time in GTA, not playing the story or doing anything in particular, but running around causing chaos, this game's basically designed for you, so you might just want to think about picking it up if that's the case. Next we have Rogue Trooper Redux. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the good price of £3.99. This edition is remastered in full HD with enhanced controls, gameplay, and extra difficulty settings. This is a first-person shooter, and you're the last genetic infantryman, bred for war and betrayed by your superiors at the Quartz Zone Massacre, and now you stalk the battlefield as a one-man squad, searching for the traitor general to enact your revenge upon him. It also features 4-player online co-op, which is awesome. More first-person shooters and third-person shooters should include co-op for the gameplay. It just makes it fun to play with friends. This was a bit of a cult classic back in the day, and it's based on a very popular comic book as well. So if you're a fan of the original source material, or you like the idea of a very unique and cool shooting game, you might just want to take a look at this, because it's a bit of a one-of-a-kind. Another old school fighter next, Samurai Showdown 6. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £2.39, which is dirt cheap. In this game you get to take part in the Sunpu tournament to fight against other warriors for glory. It features every game system from the entire series, every character, plus additional new characters as well. So it seems to be a pretty decent version of this franchise. So if you're a fan of old school fighters, or you've never played one before, you should definitely look at this. Although there's a few on sale, so maybe take a look at your options before picking one. Shenmue 1 and 2 are our next game. They were released in 2018, so they're 3 years old, although they're much older than that really, and they're on a 75% discount for the price of £6.24, which is really good for 2 AAA games. This edition has an updated user interface, optional modern controls, plus English and Japanese audio, for the first time in the West, which is pretty cool. These are third-person RPG games set in the 80s where you play as Ryo Hazuki, returning to his father's dojo just in time to witness Lan Di steal a mysterious artifact and murder his father. So now you vow to avenge your father and take off after Lan Di. These were pretty legendary back in the day because they had a lot of features in the game that hadn't existed before, such as people being on their own schedules, which meant you'd have to manage time and be at certain places at certain times for events to happen. So it was very different and unique at the time, although it's pretty standard these days. Some people say they've aged a bit rough, but hey, if you're ever a fan of these games, or you ever wondered where this sort of gameplay came from, you might be interested enough to take a look. It's a pretty decent price if you are. A cool platformer next, Tearaway Unfolded. It was released in 2015, so it's 6 years old, and is on a 70% discount for the price of £4.79, which is really good. This game is set in a magical paper world, where you embark on a daring quest to deliver a top secret message as a Toy the Messenger, battling monsters to save her friends along the way. It features a companion app that allows a second player to customize the paper world and characters with their own wild designs. This is a very popular, cool and unique platformer that is exclusive to Sony. I think it originally came out on the Vita, but then got ported over. So if you never owned a Vita, or you want a really unique and cool platformer, you should definitely take a look at this, because everybody that plays it loves it. Next we have My Star Buy, the Disney Afternoon Collection. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, but it's a collection of NES games, so they're much older than that really. And it's on a 75% discount for the price of £3.99, which is amazing because it's less than £1 a game. This edition features enhanced graphics, a museum full of behind-the-scenes content, plus new boss rush and time attack modes, so it even includes a lot of extra features for your money. This collection bundles 6 platformers, which include DuckTales 1, 2, Chip 'n Dale 1, 2, Tailspin, and Darkwing Duck. Now DuckTales 1 and 2 are legendary platformers from the NES. I played them when I was younger and I loved them. I completed them so many times, they're great. I even owned the Game Boy games and played them too, and I loved them. I also played a lot of Chip 'n Dale as a kid, and they were great too. Tailspin I loved on TV, but I didn't get to play it much as a kid. And Darkwing Duck, I never watched it and I never played the game either. But hey, these are great games, and if you love Disney, especially the cartoons that all came out around about the same time, then there'll be a lot of fun and nostalgia for you in this collection. It's my star buy, not only because it's great value, but because they're great games too. If you're in any way interested, you definitely should at least consider it. They're great, and they're so cheap. It's worth looking at least. Another fighter now, The Last Blade 2. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £2.39, which is dirt cheap. This is a weapon-based fighter, kinda like a classic old-school Soul Calibur. It features 12 characters, 4 additional new characters, 2 extra hidden characters, a repel counter system, and 3 ultimate techniques to change the type of battle with. I've heard a lot of people say this is the best weapon-based fighter around, and to be honest it doesn't have a lot of competition. Soul Calibur is pretty much the only one around these days. So if you're looking for a bit of old school fighter, and you want something weapon-based, then look no further than this. Otherwise, there's tons of old school fighters in this sale, so take a look around. You've got plenty of options. And the final game I have for you is Yakuza Kiwami 2. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on a 50% discount for the price of £7.99, which is good for a PlayStation Hits game. This edition is a complete remake of Yakuza 2, including a new scenario, the Majima Saga. This is a brawler RPG, and after your clan's 5th chairman is murdered by assassins from a rival organization, you are called back to action to find a new chairman and prevent an all-out clan war. It features an awesome combat system, many varied and deep mini-games including old-school arcade classics, club management, clan creator, and more. This is an amazing series, and if you've never played it, this is a great one to start with, although there is a previous game and a prequel, so you might be missing out on a bit of backstory, but that's up to you. But these games are great. They're basically like a Yakuza version of GTA, and if that sounds great to you, it's because it is. It's got way more personality and much more cool things in it than the GTA games have these days. So you get a lot more for your money, and you'll have a lot more fun as well. I can't recommend them highly enough. You should definitely play at least one of these. Why not check it out? And that's all the games I have for you for the Retro and Remasters PSN sale. What did you think of the games? Did I pick good ones? Did I pick bad ones? Was the star buy good, or should I have picked something else? Throw all of your complaints in the comments and we'll argue about it later. I hope you guys found some games you're interested in, but more importantly I hope you guys saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vour.